We are here for the first installment in our Adapt or Die series, which we toyed with a lot of different names for this series. And ultimately, we kind of just decided to go for the jugular, and we landed on Adapt or Die. So it's pretty intense, but we feel like it's fitting because these are some pretty intense times we're living through right now. We're trading through. This whole series is brought to you by the Sanglucci Master Course. We are launching a new a live session of the Master Course on June 6th. So coming up real soon, June 6th is when the next live session starts. And every time we do a new session of the Master Course, we do a campaign and an interview series leading up to it, talking about a particular theme. You know, we bring in each one of the educators from the Master Course and sometimes some special guests, and we go deep in some topics that I think traders really want to hear people with this level of experience talk about, but we don't really get to talk about this stuff that much. You know, Jay is on the mic all day in the steam room. You know, he's doing flow show on Tuesdays, but most of the time he's talking about market activity and stuff like that, right? We're not like zooming out, talking about some of the bigger picture stuff, some of the deeper questions around trading and how it relates to people's like psychological experiences of trading, and especially in markets like this. So this is the first installment in the series, the first episode of the series. I'm Charlie Bathgate. I'm your host for the series, and I'm joined by Wall Street Jesus. Jay, say what's up, man.
What's up, everybody? Everybody's probably exhausted at this point, right? And early in the week, but 2 days of this market can drain you.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're here to talk about. Jay, thanks for anchoring the series. Like, I'm gonna get us straight into it. So, you know, we were talking a little bit before we officially kicked it off, and there's always newer traders who are coming to us a little shell shocked, right? Newer traders who just haven't seen much. They'll hit us up on email or in the room or something like that, and they'll be like, what do I do? This move happened today, and that's to be expected. Usually we don't see a lot of really successful veteran traders show up, you know, in our community, and people, you know, who we know really well, show up shell shocked at the rates that they have been in the last, I would definitely say the last 2 weeks. You know, markets have been kind of crazy for the whole, for the whole year, for all of 2022. But definitely the past couple of weeks, it's gone up a whole different level. I don't need to describe the market activity to you guys. Everyone in here has been trading it or watching it. Y'all know exactly what it's been like. And I think that there are a lot of traders right now who are looking at themselves in the mirror and asking themselves the question, like, can I do this? Can I do this mentally? Can I do it psychologically? Can I do it strategically? Can I do it tactically? Like, do I have what it takes to navigate these markets? So, Jay, that's what this series is about. That's what we're going to go into. And let's start off like real quick. What has your experience been like trading these markets over the past 2 weeks? How's this been for you?
Well, that's the one thing. Like, everybody assumes that, you know, the longer you're in the game, you have experience, that everything has a tendency of getting easier because you've seen so many different types of markets, so many different things. But one thing I will tell every single one of you is that, especially these days, with everything's going on, this is a market that no matter how long you're in this game, I don't care if you were trading when there were dinosaurs on the floor, you haven't seen anything like this. And that's what the market is, right? Even with all that experience, don't get me wrong, experience comes in handy because it helps you adapt to certain situations, helps you allow you to be patient and disciplined when you need to be in certain situations. But as far as seeing something that looks similar to something you've been involved in the past, it seems you always see something new in this game, you know? And it's just, this is something, and that's why you're saying that a lot of experienced traders have, you know, you've heard them say that even they're shell shocked by what's going on in the market. Because usually what happens is, you got a bullish theme or you have a bearish theme, right? Then, at times you have chop and it's obvious it's chop and you learn how to deal with that. I think what the problem is with this current environment is it's definitely a bearish theme. Okay. Everybody knows it's bearish. I think it's so obvious to everybody that it's bearish, and that's what's making it so difficult. You understand? Because when everybody is aware of something, you know what I mean? If everyone sees the same thing you see, it's never easy. Those are the toughest trades.
Right.
So that's why, like, even bears out there, they're kind of on their toes, because you see at any given point in time off nothing, you can get a big squeeze in the market. And, if you're leaning quite heavily to the short side, it can hurt. So that's why I think you're getting it from all sides, because a lot of people like volatility. They like when a market moves around, especially active traders. But it's a rare bird who can trade successfully in these type of market conditions, playing both sides. Everybody strives to do it, but it's Michael Jordan shit of this game. You know what I mean? And just it's not something we all can do.
Right. And people expect themselves to be able to do Michael Jordan shit, and there's only one Michael Jordan for a reason, right? So
exactly, that's just like in anything, any sport, right? You look up to Michael Jordan if you played hoops throughout your childhood, high school, college, and then when you get to the pros or whatever, you can't be Michael Jordan, right? You got to be you at your best. You got to be able to do perfect what you do to find success at that pro level. And it's similar here, right? If you go out there and try to be Jesse Livermore or Paul Tudor Jones or all these guys that can trade anything they want at any given time, game, it's not going to take too long for this game to knock you on your ass. So it's just like any other sport out there,
Right. So, we call this series the adapt or die series, and part of that, what we're speaking to is the experience for traders when they are at a moment in their career where they're just like, I got to change something. I realize that I have to do something differently. I have to change something, or I'm not gonna. I can't make it, right? Something in their life, something in their trading career, in their trading patterns and their results is saying to them like, I got to do something differently. I have to change it up. I got to adapt. I got to mix things up. Otherwise, I'm never gonna make it. And right. Jay, I don't know if these past 2 weeks have been that sort of experience for you. I don't think so. I haven't heard you say anything to that degree, but I would imagine at some point in your career, there was a time when you were like, I gotta adapt. I gotta change. I gotta take things to the next level. I'm curious what that time, if there was a time like that, and if you can take us into that, like what was happening, what was that time like, and how'd you do it?
Yeah,
how did you change?
For me, again, it's pretty early on, luckily in my career, just because I had the benefit of seeing others. I had the benefit of watching others around me, and their faults and what knocked them out of the game. You understand? Kind of, it's a mean thing to say, but they were kind of my guinea pig when I was still wet behind the ears and didn't have much money to lose to begin with. You know what I mean? So it was a good learning experience. It was almost like sort of like paper trading for me, right? I get to, with not much money, I get to watch what everybody else is doing. And, I see people blowing up around me and I can see the reasons why. They're a common denominator amongst all of them, in a sense. Were you asking something? Did I miss?
No, I was going to ask, what were those common denominators? This is a question on my list, so I'm jumping in.
Yeah. Well, you guys have heard me mention this in the past on webinars. Like a common denominator amongst a lot of these players were margin. They were a margin to the hill, right? So I'll give you an example. And I don't know, margin may not be as big these days because of options, or maybe they are. I'm maybe out of the loop right now, but back in my day, here I go on my rocking chair again, options, just weren't available to the regular guy out there. or the regular broker anyhow. You had to be accredited. You had to fill out tons of paperwork. You couldn't buy options. Forget if you put a gun to the head. But margin was. So like, for example, in the late 90s, the market, very similar to what we've done off COVID, up in a straight line, every little dip got bought. The internet stocks, just like the SPAC stocks and the Cathy stocks and the whole 9 yards, even crazier than the last 2 years here. So, but the point being is greed gets the best of everybody. Okay, you're making money on the way up, and because you feel like you don't have the account size, or you're smaller than the guy you just saw next to you, or whatever the reason may be, you could utilize margin. Okay, so a lot of these people around me were literally margin to the hilt, meaning that they put up 50% of the capital. Okay, and you could only go 2 to 1 back then. Now, some firms go 10 to 1, but they would put up 50% of their account, and they would leverage double. Okay, so if they could buy 1,000 shares of Amazon, now they could buy 2,000 shares of Amazon. All right, and over the short run, all right, not days, months, even years, they made a killing. Right? It only meant more money in their accounts because everything they bought on margin, they sold for a profit. Okay. But when shit hit the fan, and nobody, they never see that part coming, and now they're not even paying attention to that. When shit hit the fan, and now you're holding positions, margin to the hilt, 50% margin, that first dip that doesn't get bought, right? All of a sudden now you're getting margin calls. Okay. Right. And you don't need, everybody understands how the rest of the story goes there. Once you start getting margin calls, you're done. You're selling stock, you're at a loss, your account. I've seen guys, their account literally go from hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. Started off, probably $100,000 with all the money they put into it, go to $600,000-700,000 at the peak, and literally, not even zero, went to negative equity, where they owed the firm money, and then they would resign the next day and leave the firm with the hit, and then the firm had to sue them. So it was pretty obvious, okay, to me, like as new as I was in the game, if I avoided going on margin and avoided that greed aspect of the game, I would eliminate one of the major things that people were blowing up over. You understand? So it was things like that. Again,
so that meant you having control over your own greed, right? Your own, like, I'm sure you wanted to grow your account as quickly as you could, right? I mean, wasn't there a part of you that had like an itchy trigger finger? You were like, but what if I could make it work in a way that these guys can't?
When they were making money on the way up, right? And I'm sitting there, new to the game, without 2 nickels to rub together. I thought it was genius. I'm like, oh, shit, they could borrow money to make money. What's going on? I don't understand. This is legal? Is this legal? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't figure out, it looked like the invention of the wheel to me. You know what I mean? And then obviously I saw the consequences of it. Like everything else, nothing's that good. There's always a price that needs to be paid. So like I said, they were my guinea pig, and I was fortunate enough to be around that and see that. A lot of the newer traders now, they open an account and they dive right in and they just start playing, and they don't get that experience. They don't have that experience. So what you're seeing now is basically all these traders who got locked in because of COVID, got stimulus checks, right? And had nothing to do. Ball games were shut down because of COVID. So all they could do was play the market. They discovered options, right? Buy call or buy put, nothing else they needed to know. And they made money. They made money because the market went up continuously. And now, obviously, that's not the case. And, they're going to learn the hard way that, those good times, especially those type of times, they don't come around often and they don't last forever. And if you don't plan for that, you're going to run into the same predicament each and every time, right? So
Right.
everybody out there who's having a tough time, who's newer to the game, and then again, I tell everybody in the steam room this. This is the beauty of the market. The market will tell you, scream at you, what you're doing wrong and what you can't do anymore. You understand? What mistakes you have to correct to find success. I promise you, the market will let you know that. Okay. You have to take it from there, right? The market's not going to go into your account, lock your account so you don't buy at certain times or you don't buy on margin, or right? You have to find a way to find that discipline to correct that mistake and not make the same mistake over and over and over again. So point being that everybody who's having a tough time, who's new to the game, they know what cost them money this go around, right? They know what got them in trouble. And instead of being all down and out and frustrated and, looking for the next crystal ball out there, maybe who can make money in this, that's what everybody's doing now. They're looking for who's successful in this type of market. That's who I need to find, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
this market now is going to last forever. And they keep
Right.
hopping around. So instead of correcting their mistakes, they continue to make new mistakes, and it gets frustrating where you run out of money. That's the end game there. But again, this is a great time for everybody to acknowledge, look in the mirror, acknowledge what cost them money, what they did wrong, and use that, experience. Use that experience and try to correct those mistakes and never do them again.
I mean, Jay, would you say it's your sort of guiding philosophy, especially through, rough markets, to keep things simple, in the sense of just trying to remove those, like, all those emotional stories that we put onto our results and rationalizations and justifications for doing this and doing that, and just purely look at your results and as you said, let the market dictate to you what's been working and what isn't? Is that an oversimplification?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's, I'm being honest with you. I don't even think it's that. You make it too complicated. I know you're saying I make them simple, but
it's even simpler than that. That's awesome.
Well, listen, if you did a poll right now for everybody who's on here and ask them, is this an easy market to trade in, or is this a really difficult market to trade in? I guarantee you, probably 99 out of 100 with one jackass is going to say that this is an extremely difficult market to play in, to find success in, right?
Right.
So it's obvious to all of us. Okay. So the easy answer to that, if it's a tough environment for you, okay, ultimately that just means one thing. Okay. You have to, again, here's that word again, find the patience and discipline to hang around and wait for a different time. There's no other choice. You're not going to discover God and find a way to make millions of dollars in this type of market. You understand? Because again, that's the problem, right? I see that's another thing I learned too. When things get bearish, okay, and this is beyond bearish, this is craziness. But what happens, markets go into corrections, okay? And to my point, so newer traders who got yanked in the pullback and lost all their money, right? They tried the bullish end, they got caught at the top, they lost all their money. So now they see the market's bearish. So what do? Okay, they look around, who's bearish that I can learn, who I can follow and do what they're doing, right? So they start building a bearish bias. Now they're starting to short things and think, oh, I found the way, not thinking that the correction's not going to last forever. You understand? The market's not going to stay bearish forever. You're not going to be able to just do this forever and find success. So what's going to happen when the market rallies, turns, and that trend flips from bearish to bullish? They lose all their money again. They're going to get run over and lose all their money again. So I couldn't drive that point home any harder. Like every new trader has a tendency to hop around and look for new things, look for new answers, when in reality, it's the ability to stay patient and disciplined and wait for that better environment to play in. You understand?
Right.
And that's where you're going to make your money, right? Not losing a lot of money in this environment is your goal. right? And making good money in a better environment, that's your goal. And you put the two together and you can hang around this game. You understand? But they're meant, a lot of people's mentality, and it's the total opposite.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we talk about athletes all the time and analogies to sports, and like every super successful athlete has their strongest thing, the thing that they can fall back on, that they know no matter how crazy the game gets, they can fall back on that thing that they can do really well, right? Like whatever, Dirk Nowitzki could fall back on his fadeaway jumper, right? His turnaround fadeaway jumper. Kareem could do his his hook shot and stuff like that. It's like no matter, they always know in the back of their head, I got this thing in my back pocket, and as crazy as things get, when everybody else is losing their shit around me, I can do this thing. And that's what helps me get through, that's what helps them get through the craziness and perform at a high level. And it kind of sounds like for you, that, that thing that you can always fall back on is like, just keep things even simpler than I could ever describe it, to be, and let things be that simple, right? Like I think you're such a good example of, you are so immersed in flow and market data every single day. I mean, if you wanted to, you could overcomplicate things so much. But you keep yourself out of that space. You just don't let yourself go there.
Because I know I'm going to lose my money doing it. You understand?
Right.
I know I'm going to lose my money. I'm lying to myself. Like right now, right? We complain about the flow, the lack of ideas, the lack of stuff to buy, right? So obviously I can go and pick my own shit. I know enough about the market. I can come up with a legitimate argument of why so-and-so may trade higher 3 months from now. All right. But I know in the back of my head, in the long run of doing it, like I'm losing my money. I'm not coming out a winner. I know that. I'm not going to lie to myself and say, oh, maybe I can pick my own stock, come up with my own stock ideas in this mess of a market. You understand? So instead, I take what the signal that's coming out of the flow is actually telling me, that if they're not buying anything, if they don't see clarity, right, that's telling me to relax and wait for a better time for myself as well, right? Who do I think I am that, what am I gonna, they don't feel the conviction to go out and play, so me, I'm gonna go out there and make money? Like, you know what I mean? That's almost arrogance to me. That's arrogance on my behalf, looking at it that way. Now, it may not be like that for everybody else out there, but I have that much faith in the stuff that I look at, because I've been doing it enough, that's me being arrogant, me being cocky, that I think I can go get aggressive and buy my own picks out there while sweepers aren't sweeping shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So instead, I take that signal for what it is. That's telling me to chill out. You know what I mean? Chill out. You want to play a little because you're a degenerate, play a little, lose a little money, make a little money, break even, great. But don't knock yourself out right now. You understand?
Right. So, right. I mean, you said the words, I take that signal for what it is. And that to me communicates the two prongs of your edge, right? I mean, one, you were just talking about, everyone can hear it in your voice, is humility. You are not thinking you're smarter than the market. You are just recognizing the difficulty of the markets right now, and you're just accepting that for what it is. And then the other prong is, your edge, and your edge is flow, and being able to read flow better than anybody. And you're allowing what the flow does to dictate what you do, right? Like, you just keep it so simple in that regard. You let the signal be what it is.
There's no edge out of the flow right now. You understand?
Yeah.
That's like, right. I told you I grew up around professional gamblers as a kid. You know what I mean? And they would go to the racetrack, and while my degenerate father was betting all 14 races on the card that day, these guys would go there and literally sit, eat lunch, eat dinner, bullshit, all for one race that they came for 3 hours later. You know what I mean? Because that's where they had their edge, in that race. Now, they could play the other races, right? That's not going to hurt them. But to them, they saw it as losing money. Why the fuck would I waste my money on all these other races when I have an edge in the 9th race later on? You understand? So
Right.
again,
Right.
we don't look at that if we go to the racetrack for enjoyment, for entertainment purposes. But when they were doing it professionally, they have to look at it that way. They have to look at it that way. So
Yeah.
if your edge is there, right, you pounce. If your edge is not there, you have to find the discipline to sit around and wait for your time. You understand? Now, let me tell you this though. It's easier said than done because, and Lucci and I were talking about this. We used to talk about this all the time. A lot of people come into this game, right? They want to be quote unquote, do this as a profession. They rely on the game for an income. You understand?
Yeah.
When you rely on this game for a specific amount, right? Income wise, you put yourself behind the eight ball already. It's such a difficult task. You talk about putting stress on yourself. You understand? Because, like, for example, right now in this environment, if you have to rely on a specific income out of the market, good luck. Okay, it's not happening. I don't care what you could be Houdini. You're not going to make what you're looking to make in this type of market. You understand? So what is somebody who quits their job, decides to do this for a living, relies on that income, and now here's Wall Street Jesus over here telling them to chill out for what? Months? What am I going to do? But what I'm telling you is you have no choice. You understand? You may not like doing that. You may not want to do that, but you're going to make a donation instead. So
if you have no edge, if you got no edge, then you got no business. Yeah, pulling the trigger.
Again, it's your choice. Now, like I said, there are a few, and literally, probably not everybody on this webinar even knows one person, but there are a select few who can make money over the long haul, regardless of the market. They'll play in this type of market, they'll play in uptrends, they'll play in downtrends, but that's a rare species. You understand? That's a rare species. Like I said, that's Michael Jordan. We can't compare ourselves to them because you're asking for trouble. They're wired completely different than we are, right? I was talking to Katie about this. They don't have that emotion. They don't have that degenerate instinct that most of us do. You understand?
Right.
When we're shitting our pants and bearish, these guys are all bulled up and have the coconuts to go in there and buy with size. You understand? Almost mechanical. You can't teach that. You can't learn that. Okay, that's you come out of your mother's womb like that. You understand what I'm saying? So you can practice some of those things and get better at it, but there's a select few who can do that consistently, and even they take lumps when the market is too tough for their edge. You understand? It's not like they're invincible, but for the majority of people, okay, and there may be a select few. Who am I to tell anybody they're not going to be whatever, right? But for the majority of people, I could tell you the numbers are against you to strive to be that. Okay, you'll learn early on if you're the Michael Jordan or you're just the regular player trying to make it in this game. Okay, you'll know without lying to yourself early on. And if you're the regular player trying to make it in this game, the discipline and the patience, that's the stuff you need to work on religiously, and waiting for the better times to make money. That's what it all comes down to,
Yeah. One of the quotes, as we were talking about this series as a team, we were talking about, questions that we would ask you guys and we came on and stuff like that. And this quote from Wall Street kept coming up, which, Wall Street's an absurd movie on a lot of levels. But there's this one moment that I think is the first one, yeah, the original, Gordon Gekko, Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, Gordon Gekko.
I mentioned Wall Street. Isn't there the other one too? Now this generation of kids, they talk.
There's Money Never Sleeps. I'm talking about the original Wall Street. Kind of the only Wall Street in my.
Me too.
And there's this moment in the movie where I can't remember the guy's name, but he's sort of this wiser, older figure within the firm.
Sometimes you look into the abyss. That guy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Man looks into the abyss and there's nothing staring back at him. At that moment, man finds his character, and that's what keeps him out of the abyss, right? I feel like, and this came up in the conversations within the team, because people were like, there's some traders who feel like they're staring in the abyss right now.
Yeah.
And my question for you is like, in times in your career when you feel like you've been staring in the abyss, where you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this is crazy. What, and maybe you've already answered this, so maybe you're going to repeat yourself, but what has kept you, what do you feel like has kept you out of the abyss? What has helped you know, like, I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna make it, even though people are getting sniped left and right all over me, and there's there's dead bodies all around me. I'm not gonna be one of those corpses. I got this. Like,
Right. Well, just like I was telling a lot of newer people when the market was going up every day, that don't judge yourself, whatever system you're playing out there. You know, a common quote I would see on Twitter constantly from traders was, I'm finally profitable. I made it, guys. And you get like 100 retweets and likes. Congratulations, congratulations. And, you know, I'm saying to myself, you know, the market, you're in a rigged market that goes up every fucking day. And you think you made it, right? You think you made it. You're trading for 2 years in a market that's gone up every day. You had no idea. This guy has no idea what lies ahead. You know what I mean? So the point I'm making is, just like I was telling a lot of people in those times, that you have to forget, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're finding success, but test your strategy, your discipline, and your performance in different climates, okay, in different environments. And that's when you know you made it, okay? And right now, I would tell the opposite for people who are struggling out there, okay? Don't judge it off what you've done right now if you lost money, okay? You lost money, it's in a ridiculous time. Everybody loses money in this time. The only people who don't lose money are the people who pull in the reins and aren't risking their money. Okay, that's the only crowd right now that's not losing money. Okay, and if you can figure out a way to weather the storm and the ability to stay patient through these times, in whatever way you come up with, and last for the good times that come around, because there's a lot more good than bad in the market. That's the beauty of the market. Okay, there's a lot more good than bad, right? So all it comes down to, again, it's easier said than done. Make money in the good times, figure out a way to hold on to the majority of it, and survive the bad times. That's all you got to do to become profitable in this game. Again, whether you're doing it professionally, on the side, investing, a hobby, whatever it may be. Again, easier said than done, but it really is that simple, you know? And I tell people, like, we look at a chart, you know, you pull up the chart of the S&P 500, yeah, you literally got this huge uptrend where every single one of these people on this webinar made money during that time, right? So that's the easy part, right? Well, the more difficult part is hanging on to that money, right? At the end, when things roll over, right? You might give back some of it, but hanging on to the most of it. And then when the market, you get into this type of climate, sit around and not do much, and then wait for things to be constructive again. Wait for better times. You understand? And net, you're going to have more gains and losses in your account. You know, I mean, that's all. Charles, I wish there was some, you know, more genius sounding,
poetic,
more poetic explanation. But it really, that's what it comes down to. You know,
oh man, that's the beauty of Wall Street Jesus.
Yeah, there's no secret sauce. There's not something that's out there that is going to allow you to succeed at all times in whatever's going on in the market. It's just, if you think of it logically, it's not feasible. You know,
right?
And there's another thing we spoke on the Sunday webinar about this past Sunday. Okay, I see it right now. More than ever, people flock to the hot hand. Right, so you got right now traders, all these perma bears who have been calling for the end of the world, okay, and look like jackasses for the past decade, okay? Now, all of a sudden, everybody thinks they're geniuses. You understand? Because we got some negativity. We got some selling in the market, right? Now, they're asking for their advice. Oh, where's the S&P 500 going? How low can we go? What should I be shorting? All right. So, and you see, this is what you see happen. You see the crowd constantly flock. They flock to the bearish gurus when things get bearish. They flock to the bullish gurus who are just getting lucky in a bull market, right? Same shit. When things get bullish, and they're hopping around spinning their wheels for no reason, for no reason. And what happens is they overstay their welcome on whatever side they're on at the time. That's what happens. But I'm serious. It's really that. It really comes down to that simplicity right there. It was you make money in the good times, you figure out a way to hold on to the bulk of it, and then find the patience and the discipline to wait for that better time again when things get rocky.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that we're sitting there talking about, like, wish there was something more grandiose, more poetic to
I can make
bestow upon him.
I can
you can make some
out of my ass and make it sound good if you want. You know what I mean? I got a machine that spits out winners no matter what the market's doing. I mean, I could definitely, create something if you want. But
people got to pay extra for that bullshit. No, I mean, this is one of the cool parts for us about talking to you and talking to different, talking to Lucci, talking to Chris, talking to Ranch, the different perspectives that everybody has. Everybody comes to it differently, and yours is like, it's pretty fucking simple. It's just like, let things be simple, maintain perspective, maintain humility, rely on your edge. If your edge isn't giving you anything, don't do something, don't do anything. And that sounds so simple. Every single person in here knows how hard that can be, but that doesn't change the fact that that's not the path forward out of really crazy environments and really challenging times. Simple things can be very, very powerful, especially when you're trying to keep your head straight through what feels like a car crash happening all around you.
Sometimes it's just asking yourself the simple questions. Like I said, if each and every person in here asked themselves, is this a difficult time to be playing this game right now? You know what I mean? Is there a higher probability that you're going to make money or lose money? And every single person, more than likely, again, barring a few, and they may think different or just trying to get cute for whatever reason, but the majority of people are going to admit to themselves, it's a really difficult time. So then it's very simple. If you think it's a difficult time and you're going to risk your money anyway, there's a good chance you're going to lose it. You understand? Right. There's nothing complicated about that.
Right. Just let it be simple. Yeah. And if you're going to do that, that's
gotta be okay with losing it, right? If you're willing to take that risk, you got to be okay with losing it, right? Once you admit that to yourself. And
then that's fine. If you're going to do it, just do it in small size.
Exactly.
Super small size. Like
there are, you hit the nail on the head. There are other ways to combat that degenerate instinct that we have that we want to play. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's the common response that I get when I tell people that it's the action. They want the action. They want to play. They can't do nothing for a lengthy period of time, whatever the case. So then size down significantly. Yeah, unless you enjoy losing money. You know what I mean? There's no other in between. It's either you're likely to lose money or you gotta do something about it. You know what I mean?
I mean, at the end of the day, of all the injuries and casualties that you're seeing in the market, 99% of them are self-inflicted, right? It's people shooting their foot off. So if you can just not do that, following the stuff that Jay is saying, that's how you adapt to a very difficult market environment, very difficult circumstances. I know you guys have questions for Jay. I'm seeing some of these come up in the chat, so we'll get to Q&A section in a second. I'm going to give a plug here for the master course, which, as I said, is starting up on June 6th. If you guys go to sangalucci.com/MC, you'll see this page, which gives you all sorts of information about the master course. I'll give you kind of the quick rundown of it here. Our pitch is that basically there's nowhere else on the planet where you can learn everything that we teach you in the master course in one educational experience from people with the backgrounds that our educators have, certainly at this price. If you can go get yourself a seat at a top prop firm, which there's not that many of them left anymore. Yeah, you can learn this stuff, and you might be able to learn it from people who have the backgrounds that these guys have. But outside of that, you don't really have a shot at learning this stuff. So you're going to learn tape reading and trading psychology and options from Lucci. You're going to learn options from Ron Friedman. You're also going to learn his trading the post methodology, which he created. We have an entirely dedicated program and course, related to that. He's done very well, certainly over the last couple of years, and definitely so far this year, even through all this madness. You're going to learn trading the post from Ranch. You're going to learn flow trading from Wall Street Jesus. Obviously, you just heard him talk for the past 45 minutes. If you're not convinced that he's got something to teach you, I don't really know what to do for you. You're going to learn market profiling and trading psychology from Chris Cady, with an assist on the trading psychology front from me. And then there's a new component to the course that we're doing this time around, and that is crypto trading. We just kind of got to the point where we said we can't really say that this course is comprehensive in nature if we're not also hitting on crypto trading. So Lucci and our resident crypto freak of nature, Spencer Regal, a lot of you guys know him. He's been with us for years. They have been developing a crypto trading course, which is actually its own separate course. It's not part of the master course, it's its own separate thing. But new members of the master course are going to get access to the crypto course, those crypto courses. There's actually two courses, a beginner and intermediate course that those guys have put together. I think that's going to blow some minds as well. So this is a very comprehensive trading experience. We have pros who come in here and who say, you know what, I just kind of want to get Jay's perspective on flow locked into my head, or I want to get Lucci's tape reading or Ranch's perspective on options. And they come in and they kind of pick up a skill set. And then there's people who are like, I need to, I need the full enchilada. I need to get all of this. Yeah, I need to revamp my skill sets entirely, or I'm just starting out. I want the right foundation. We get people from all walks of life. You get lifetime access to the course. So as you can see, the price for this course is creeping up. We have people who bought this course like 5 years ago, and they bought it for way cheaper than what it is right now, and they're still coming back for free. You might be that person in a couple years when this course is even more robust and we're charging who knows how much more. You can keep coming back for free. You get lifetime access to future live sessions and the recordings. You get 2 free months in the Steam Room with Jay. Don't really know what to say. It's a pretty incredible deal. The next live session starts June 6th. If you have questions, shoot us an email, contact@sanglucci.com, or hit up any of our team members just using the help chat on the website. And yeah, we hope to see a bunch of you in there. Should be good. So let's get some questions. Jay, what is Jay looking for in terms of improvement? MA's breadth, question mark.
And as far as the market, I mean, to see for me to see anything even remotely close to constructive, I need, I'm a big flow guy. So I need to see buying, some real buying, right? So if I see sweepers, which the type of buying we're looking for, if I see sweepers aggressively accumulating positions, especially in new names, that's telling me that the pros out there are willing to, they're excited about something. They're willing to take some risk, right? And that will give me the green light to start looking to do the same. Right now, we haven't seen much of any of that. We still are, the majority of that in commodities and energy type names, earlier this year, that's continued, okay? But as far as the rest of the market and everything else, there's just no buying. There's no buying. Now, we've been saying that for a long time, okay? Outside of commodities and these energy stocks, we've been talking about this for a couple of months now. And, like Charlie was saying earlier, it's a signal in itself. They haven't been buying the rest for a reason. I mean, look at what's going on right now. You know what I mean? These growth stocks, forget the indexes, the growth stocks, these things have been obliterated, obliterated. So for me, the first thing that I really would want to see before I could even think of getting aggressive in any sort of way is professional buying, real buying, right? And the healthier the buying is, the healthier that action is going to be signaling to me that the backdrop is, right? And then what usually happens, you start to see the other things you're talking about. You start to see improving breadth. You start to see just constructive price action, dips getting bought, lower highs. Little by little, you start to see everything follow after you start to see some real buying. But we haven't even started to see real buying yet, and that's a problem. So that's what I'm waiting on.
Gotcha. Andrew Haig is asking, will returning people from the past courses be able to attend the crypto courses? The answer is yes and no. No, you're not going to get technically grandfathered in the same way you do to all the usual master course classes and content. But yes, in that we are going to give previous master course members a very steep discount to these crypto courses. So we're definitely hooking it up, but we can't quite go giving it away for free in the same way that we would if we like add a new class to the master course, because these are actually separate courses. There's a separate sort of structure for that. Hope that answers your question, Andrew. Russell's asking, during the master course, is it after the trading session, or is there structure on asking questions during the day, on tape and flow in general? So Russell, the answer is yes to both. The courses are for the most part evening classes that take place outside of market hours at night. The recordings they start at 7:30 Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's about 20 classes, so they run for 6-7 weeks like that. Recordings are uploaded very quickly. A lot of people can't join those classes live. That's totally cool. Recordings are accessible, and then there are live classes during market hours. Those are the live tape reading sessions with Lucci. Ronch also often does some live stuff with his classes with trading the post methodology. So that's, so you can see what they're doing live in front of live market action. And then in terms of chat access, when you're a master course student, you get access to a completely different channel within our platform. And that's a place for you only for master course students. And you can ask whatever you want. Our team is very active in there. So any questions you have coming up during market hours or outside market hours, you're gonna get your answers, your questions answered in there. Jay, there's a question here earlier. Someone was talking about like when you feel uncomfortable, don't trade. And then someone asked a question, Jay, do you ever trade when you don't feel comfortable?
Yeah, like for example, and again, that goes back to just some of us being just complete degenerates. Like I don't want to give the impression like I'm sitting here doing absolutely nothing, okay? Because I like the action. Like Charlie says, I mean, I follow the game in its entirety from, macro, Fed, you name it. Now, 90% of that's not actionable stuff to me. You know what I mean? Me, it really comes down to flow and sentiment, and that's it. But I enjoy following it. You know what I mean? I just enjoy the game. So what I'm doing now, because of the difficulty of the environment, right? I'm trading intraday only right now, and in a lot smaller size. And honestly, to the point where I'm scalping right now. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Now, there's not a thought in my mind that I'm going to retire off intraday scalping in this environment. Okay. If I happen net during the course of this correction to be anywhere remotely close to the green out of all this, I'll do cartwheels across my office. You know what I mean? Like break even is a goal for me in what I'm doing right now. But it's just to keep me involved, keep me paying attention, right? Keep me entertained and waiting around again for that better time, because I get it. For a lot of us to just sit here, especially me, like I'm looking at flow or lack of flow these days come in on a day-to-day basis, and sit here and not do anything and not have something to root on. I get it. You know what I mean? I'm a gambler at heart. I get it. But there's also that reality that Charlie and I discussed. I know that, if I start taking full-size positions intraday or leveraging up intraday and, not utilizing stop losses or whatever the case, I know that I'm going to take a hickey. I know there are higher odds that I'm going to get hit, So I'm not willing to do that right now in this environment. You know, the risk rewards, it's just not there for me right now. So
Yeah.
I'm for entertainment purposes only, pretty much to that point is what I'm doing right now. Honestly, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that really touches on one of the things that people get insight into when they take the master course is like how these guys, these traders who are doing this at a very, very high level, how they've learned to manage their own psychology. Like what Jay's talking about right now, it's better for him to just do a little bit of entertainment trading at small size when shit's crazy. If he takes a couple losses there, like that's fine. It's better for him to do that than to do absolutely nothing and sit on the side and maybe get like a little antsy, a little trigger, you know, a little itchy, and then all of a sudden, you know, blow out and it take a huge loss. You know, I think Ronch is really, really good at talking about this, about talking about how he just puts on positions in a way that makes him feel comfortable, that makes sure that so that he knows he can sleep at night. And that's why he's so fucking good at managing his risk. And he learned that over time. It wasn't because someone sat down and said, here's the textbook of how you structure an options trade. It came from actually thinking through his own psychological experiences in the market and saying, I'm sick of feeling this way when XYZ is happening in the market. I want to make sure that no matter what is happening, I feel okay. And, you know, he created his strategy out of that. So I think people like dismiss their own psychology way too much, their own emotional and psychological experience of trading when it comes to developing their own trading style. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg towards what we're going to get into in there. Let's see. I don't think that there's anything else we got in here. So we can wrap it up there. Jay, as always, man, thank you for being here. I hope everybody else is ready for another 4 episodes in this series. We're going to continue to go deeper into this. We got 2 next week, 2 the following week. If you guys sign up on the Zoom registration, you're going to get notifications right away, but keep your eyes on Twitter and stuff for further invites for those. This is going to be a great series to continue to go deeper into. So appreciate y'all being here. Jay, thanks, man.
Guys. Hang in there.
All right, y'all. Talk soon. Thanks, everybody.